She said I was overreacting the night I found the messages. Calm, detached. Like a surgeon explaining a fatal diagnosis. You're being dramatic, she said, slipping her phone into her purse. It was just flirting. Everyone flirts. But the messages weren't just flirting, they were proof of something colder. Something practiced. The kind of betrayal that wears perfume and smiles at you over dinner. She'd been seeing my best friend behind my back for months. And when I confronted her, she didn't apologize. She rolled her eyes. That was her mistake. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just said, okay. Because okay is the sound revenge makes when it's still quiet. For weeks, she acted as if nothing had changed. She posted photos of us, cooked dinner, even kissed me goodnight. I played along, listened, watched, waited. She thought silence meant surrender, but really it meant calculation. She'd always been meticulous about her image, career woman, loyal partner, perfect friend. She lived for reputation. That's where I started. I gathered everything. Screenshots, emails, the late-night receipts from the hotel downtown where her business meetings always ended. I didn't leak them. No, that would have been too crude. I built a story instead, an anonymous blog, written like confession. A woman torn between her heart and her habits. I uploaded her texts, slightly edited, and let the internet do what it does best, speculate. Within days, people were guessing names. Within a week, her coworkers were whispering. She asked me one morning why people were acting strange at work. I looked up from my coffee and said, maybe they found your blog. She laughed nervously. What blog? I slid my phone across the table. The headline read, she said it was just flirting, but she lied to everyone. Her face drained of color. You didn't, she started. No, I said, you did. The story spread. Slowly at first, then everywhere. She was too proud to admit it was hers, too trapped to deny it convincingly. Her friend group fractured. Her promotion vanished. Her lover ghosted her when things got inconvenient. Reputation doesn't crumble, it evaporates. When she finally moved out, she left a note that said, "You didn't have to ruin me." I folded it once, tucked it into a drawer, and whispered to the empty room. You did that yourself. Months later, someone sent me the link again. The post had thousands of comments. One said, she deserved it. Some people never believe until they lose everything. I didn't reply. I just closed the screen and smiled faintly. She said I was overreacting. Now everyone knows her secret. And the beautiful thing about the truth is, it doesn't need my voice anymore. It speaks just fine on its own. She said I was overreacting the night I caught her lying. Her tone wasn't angry, it was amused, condescending. The way people sound when they think they've already won. You're reading too much into things, she said, typing quickly on her phone. Not even looking up. It was harmless. But harmless doesn't hide behind locked screens or deleted messages. Harmless doesn't whisper someone else's name in its sleep. I didn't argue. I learned long ago that some truths need patience to bloom. So I smiled. Nodded. Let her believe I'd accepted her story. That was her mistake. She thought forgiveness was weakness. She forgot that quiet people don't forgive, they document. For weeks, I gathered everything. Screenshots, timestamps, receipts, even the late-night calls labeled, work. I didn't need to expose her immediately. I just needed to wait for the right stage, the one she built herself. Her birthday was coming up, a lavish dinner she'd planned for months. Invitations sent. Speeches rehearsed. She lived for the applause of friends, for the illusion of being admired. That night, I dressed well, smiled through the greetings, and waited until dessert. She stood to thank everyone for coming, talking about loyalty and love and those who truly know me. That's when I projected her own texts onto the wall behind her. Every word, every emoji, every lie. Gasps filled the room like gunfire. She froze. The phone in her hand slipped and hit the floor. Someone asked if it was real. I said nothing. I didn't need to. Her silence was confession enough. She tried to call me the next day, sobbing, saying I'd humiliated her. You didn't have to do that, she cried. I told her, you did it yourself. I just gave your words a bigger audience. By the end of the week, she'd been placed on leave from her job. Her friends stopped replying. Her lover, the one she'd betrayed me for, blocked her. People called it scandal. I called it symmetry. Months later, I saw her at a cafe, sitting alone, sunglasses on indoors. She looked smaller somehow, quieter. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did, and couldn't bear to. I didn't feel proud. I felt finished. She said I was overreacting. Now everyone knows her secret. And that's the thing about the truth, it doesn't need revenge to hurt. It just needs light. She said I was overreacting the night I showed her the proof. Calm, detached, smirking like deceit was sophistication. You're imagining things, she said, crossing her arms. It was just conversation. But I wasn't imagining the screenshots, the late-night calls, the voice notes that didn't belong in a friendship. I wasn't imagining the way she looked relieved, not guilty, when I said I was done. Relief, not regret. That's when I knew she thought she'd gotten away with it. So I left, quietly. No arguments, no scenes. She told everyone I was dramatic, that I couldn't handle her flirty sense of humor. I let her talk, let her build her version of the story. Because the thing about people who love their own image is, they always leave fingerprints on the mirror. She worked in PR. She made her living off of lies polished into slogans. Her clients trusted her with secrets, with stories. And because she loved talking more than keeping. I knew those secrets lived somewhere unsafe, her second phone, her personal email. The one she swore she only used for backup. So I waited until she was distracted, busy planning her company's biggest campaign of the year. I didn't hack anything. I just looked. The folder was labeled drafts. Dozens of them. Each one an unedited statement about the brands she represented, the scandals she'd buried, the blackmail she'd hinted at. Her career wasn't built on brilliance, it was built on leverage. I packaged the folder neatly, anonymized it, and sent it to a journalist who'd been chasing rumors about her firm for years. When the article dropped, it was like a match hitting dry grass. Headlines everywhere. PR director manipulated clients, leaked private info for power. Her company suspended her within 24 hours. She called me that night, voice shaking, "You don't understand what you've done." I said, "No, you don't understand what you did. I just stopped keeping your secrets." She tried to play the victim online, but people weren't buying it. Screenshots surfaced. Her words, her arrogance, her cruelty, all cataloged and quoted back to her. The woman who built a career out of managing public narratives couldn't manage her own. Months later, I saw her again, at a charity event she used to host. She was a guest this time, smaller, quieter, eyes flicking to the ground when people whispered. She passed by me without a word. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just looked at her and thought, you were right. I did overreact. Because she said I was overreacting, but now everyone knows her secret. And the best part? I never raised my voice. I just told the truth she tried to bury under her own name. She said I was overreacting when I found the messages, her voice calm, condescending, rehearsed. "You're making this into something it's not," she said, tucking her hair behind her ear the way she always did before lying. "It's harmless." But harmless doesn't meet someone at midnight. Harmless doesn't delete texts as fast as they're sent. Harmless doesn't flinch when you say I know. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just watched her, memorizing the face she wore when she believed she still had control. She thought my silence was surrender. It wasn't. It was the sound of a plan taking shape. She'd always been obsessed with reputation, perfect job, perfect friends, perfect image. Her world was curated, filtered, immaculate. So I decided to stain it, not with lies, but with the truth she tried so hard to hide. For weeks, I said nothing. Let her think she'd won. Then, on her birthday, she threw the kind of party she lived for: champagne, lights, influencers pretending to like her. I sent her a gift, a framed photo collage of her and her lover. The one she thought she'd hidden. Each photo cropped from the messages she'd once called harmless. Beneath it, I wrote one sentence in gold ink: "Here's to honesty, the rarest luxury of all." I had it delivered to the venue 20 minutes after I left. She opened it in front of everyone. The silence that followed was almost art. A friend told me later that she tried to claim it was photoshopped. But the dates, the timestamps, the screenshots, they told their own story. Her friends didn't look at her the same after that. Her lover blocked her that night. She texted me once, days later, "You've ruined me." I replied, "You did that yourself. I just framed it for you." Months passed. Her social media went dark. The company she worked for dropped her after clients complained about ethical concerns. I didn't feel joy. What I felt was balance. Then one evening, I ran into her at a cafe. She looked smaller somehow, still beautiful. But the kind of beauty that trembles under the weight of memory. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. We just stood there in the quiet recognition of what truth can do when you give it time. She said I was overreacting. But now everyone knows her secret. And I didn't even raise my voice, just held up the mirror she refused to look into. Until the reflection did all the talking for me. She said I was overreacting the night I caught her lying. Her voice flat and calm, like she was explaining the weather. "You always take things too seriously," she said, tossing her phone onto the couch. The screen still glowing with the messages I wasn't supposed to see. "It's not what it looks like. It never is." That's what people say when the truth finally turns the lights on. I didn't argue. I didn't ask for details. She took my silence as defeat, but it was strategy. Because if there's one thing betrayal teaches you, it's how to wait for gravity to do the work. She lived for perception, for being admired, envied, followed. Everything she did was for display: her job, her friends, her perfect life online. So I made sure her downfall was public, poetic, and painfully honest. I didn't leak her messages. That would have been too obvious, too small. I sent screenshots anonymously to her company's HR department, the ones where she joked about clients, the ones where she mocked her boss, the one where she bragged about getting ahead by making the right men like her. Then I sat back and let the dominoes fall. It didn't take long. The company launched an internal review. Her colleagues started whispering. She posted a photo of herself in a white blazer, captioned, "Unbothered women don't compete." But the comments told a different story. People had seen what she'd said, what she'd done. The internet has no mercy for hypocrisy. When she was finally suspended, she called me. You did this, she said, her voice breaking. You think this makes us even? I said, no, this makes us accurate. Then I hung up. A week later, the story hit the local business blog. Marketing director resigns after private communications leak. Her friends tried to defend her for a while, but even pity gets tired eventually. I saw her months later at a small bar on the edge of town, hair tied back, eyes dimmed. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did and just pretended not to. Either way, I left her alone. The truth had done enough. She said I was overreacting. But the truth is, I was just patient. And now, when people say her name, they lower their voices. That's not revenge, it's reputation correcting itself. I didn't destroy her. I just handed the world her secret and let it decide how loud it should echo.